Listen, I've never had any problem expressing my opinions, but what we're doing here is bigger than that. These are conversations that need to be had in an unfiltered way. Drag racing's all I've ever done. It's all I care to do. I respect the history, I appreciate how far we've come, but I want more for this sport, and I'll fight for it. It's uncut, it's unfiltered. This is the show of shows. The biggest names in drag racing. No holds barred. This is the great American motorsport. Drag racing. Prove me wrong. I'll wait. Hey gang, Wes Buck here, Drag Illustrated Magazine, checking in. It is Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. Hope you're doing well out there. We got a hell of a show for you guys today. In just a few short moments, we will be joined by the one and only Justin Bond, fresh off a huge win at the NHRA Phoenix national event this past weekend that saw incredibly tough conditions for everybody. It was the story of the weekend in many ways, just surviving the heat in Phoenix, caused the NHRA to adjust the schedule, had racers scrambling just to stay alive. Really tough weekend, but excited to talk to Justin Bond about his big win. Then in a little bit, we will be joined by NHRA Rookie of the Year, funny car superstar Spencer Hyde, and round out the show with a candid, as always, conversation with our own John Sears, who is staring down the barrel of his big Carolina Gold event this weekend. But before we get too far along, of course, I want to thank you guys for joining us each and every Wednesday here, helping us spread the gospel of drag racing, grow this big sport, and take it to heights that maybe it has never seen before. That is our mission here, to grow and build the sport of drag racing by celebrating the men and women who make this sport so special. And I got to tell you, if you guys haven't checked it out already, go to dragillustrated.com. There's a fantastic opinionated editorial up on the homepage right now, a brand new piece from our own senior editor, Craig Cook, that is a really, really compelling read, just talking about how many great things are going on in the sport of drag racing right now. And I really, really, really think you should check it out. Great read, fantastic times in the sport of drag racing. But before I get too far along, let me introduce my co-hosts. I'm back in the saddle this week, home from family vacay. JT, Mike, what's going on, boys? Did you guys? I watched as much as I could last week.
And Justin
Bond is here too.
Justin Bond.
And Justin Bond. No big introduction. He doesn't need an introduction.
Dude, he's taking over. He's just taking over.
He's hosting this week. Wes, sorry,
yep.
You're off again
Fair
this
enough.
week.
I'm off.
Yeah, we've been putting feelers out for tryout
Back
for the host of the show.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy when your kids grow up. This was like our last summer vacation or spring break vacation with my kid before he goes off to college. It's wild.
Don't worry, they'll come back for vacations,
surreal,
buddy.
Yeah, man.
How old do you feel? Like, do you feel really old?
I feel really old.
Yeah.
There are days that I feel young and spry. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate you, buddy.
And then you look in the mirror and you see all the gray.
Yeah. But there are days whenever your kid's like 2 weeks away from his 18th birthday, you're like, holy shit, I'm getting old. So anyway.
And it's scary too. It's scary because you're just hoping that you equipped them right for life, right? I mean, they're getting ready to go to college.
I'm sure you're real worried.
Well, yeah, I'm real worried. Yeah, like here's a 40 cal. Here's some pepper spray. Don't talk to anybody.
How many kids do you have, Justin? Two?
I have two. And my wife has two. So
that's what I thought. And you've got all of them in juniors, don't you?
Yep. Well, now two of them are moving into big cars.
Oh, no shit. Okay. That's exciting, man. And so whenever you guys race with the family, you guys do that at the local track there, right?
Yeah. We're going to start traveling a little further. I mean, the junior deal wasn't tough to go far, but I mean, and they're all in sports. So the problem is sometimes we're junior racing and one's got to run off to a lacrosse game or a volleyball tournament or whatever. And yeah, so we've been kind of racing as a family closer to home, but we're going to start broadening our horizons.
That's exciting, man. I love to see that. Like I think that's one of the cool things about our sport is that you see so many people that do this stuff as like a family, you know what I mean? Whether it's the Franklins and PDRA, they come to mind immediately, but there are dozens of like father, son, father, daughter, I mean, grandpa, father, daughter, son. It's a really incredible thing, man. How did you, Justin, like before we dive into all the, I've known you now, I think we met in the race season of 2014 or 15. What was the first year you raced the Gold Firebird with Shane Molinari in NHRA Pro Mod?
Well, we started out with a red 70.5 Camaro, and then we built a 68 Firebird. It was a red one, brought it to West Palm, crashed it in the first half a dozen runs. And then we got it fixed, went to Atlanta, crashed it again. And at that time it was like, we can't fix it. Yeah. And then we built the gold car and we ran it black primer for the first year because we didn't have time to paint it. And I think that all started, like you're saying, in 14 and 15.
You ran that gold car at World Series of Pro Mod, didn't you, in Denver? Or Shane was driving it?
Shane was driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where and it was that season that I really got to spend a lot of time with Justin because he was a big part of like the Pro Mod community in the NHRA. At the time, the NHRA Pro Mod series was operated by Danny Rowe and Steve Matusik and the Real Pro Mod Association. And you were kind of getting acclimated to the whole world. And I guess it's not a total shock to me that 10 years later, you're one of the guys driving the bus on NHRA Pro Mod. It's pretty amazing.
How far this title has sponsor of the series.
Yeah, it was different. Remember back then you had to have grade points, and when you to get in, if you couldn't, you had to buy a provisional spot. It was $5,000.
Yeah,
and it was a dogfight to even get an entry.
I know, man. I mean, and I tell you, sometimes
crazy back then.
It really was, dude. I mean, there were guys paying way more than $5,000. I knew racers that were paying 20, 30 grand, basically signing on to sponsor a race just so they could get entered and be able to bypass the grade point thing. And isn't it kind of interesting how sometimes in life when the barrier to entry is removed or reduced, it doesn't have the impact that you think it's going to have. Like you think, oh, we're going to make it easy. Anybody who wants to run can come run. You're not going to have grade points, blah, 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 blah. But it's that, I think sometimes that hurdle or that challenge or that exclusivity really drives the bus. You know what I mean? Because there are times that I've thought that that's almost more of what Pro Mod needs, you know, because right now there's a whole lot of Pro Mod racing going on, like a tremendous amount of Pro Mod. And it's
tons.
And as exciting as it is, it's also like trying to create some method to the madness where, I mean, I think there's 39 Pro Mod major Pro Mod races in 2026. That's pretty crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but most of them
supply and demand
crossover.
is a real thing in life, and the more demand or the more supply you have, the demand just drops. And I think that it was better when it had grade points and all that? To some aspects, yes. I mean, it kept the hype up for sure. But most things that we see going on in our world today, we seem to let the democratic approach take over, and I think it's stuff you try, and in most research and development you do, 99 things out of 100 are going to be losers, and I think it's something that we've tried. We're going to stay the course on it as a group, of course, with the entry the way it is. But also back then, I think that $20 went further. If you start doing the grade point deal and you have to go to a divisional event and run in comp like we had to do, and you have to do all that for the first year, I think if we're struggling to get a card to NHRA now and you go and tell Tommy Franklin that you got to go to 6 points meets to enter, he's not going to do that.
He'll figure something else out. Yep.
100%.
So yes, going back in history, I thought there was a lot more prestige of even being able to enter, and qualifying was such a feat, right? But you got to remember, we had 28 to 30 cars all the time. But the other side of that coin was we could never get 4 qualifiers because we did have leakers, and the leakers would make us lose a qualifier. I mean, you remember those days, Wes?
Oh, dude. I mean, and that's the thing is, it's like, it's such a tough thing to balance quality of the show and quality of the racers and the people that are involved with trying to also include as many people as possible, because we've experienced that. Like we saw, like at the World Series of Pro Mod, we had 65 Pro Mods, and our show was infinitely better than it was at the Snowbirds when there was 80 cars, just because we had really, really, really good cars. Every car was really, 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 really good and deserved to be there. And it was more manageable. You know what I mean? Like you have one thing go wrong across an 80 car session, and you are never getting back on track. And I think, like you said, that's like the lesson you learn is you take the democratic approach or whatever, and everybody wants in, and you got to let all these people in, and blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't always work out exactly the way you want it to. But we learned that like sometimes less is more. And I think when I look at the Pro Mod qualifying order this past weekend, I mean, there is no lack of quality. I mean, every one of those cars that show up at an NHRA Pro Mod race, even poor Alex Laughlin, who failed to qualify, but has really been doing much better. I mean, they've really turned their program around and have been running very well. Even he's a threat to go some rounds. So it's like, it's a really interesting dynamic.
All those guys are running the full season too. Like there's I mean, all those guys are committed to the season, and those are really the lone wolves still out there running quarter mile Pro Mod, if you think about it. So it's a real kind of niche group that's dedicated to what they're doing, and definitely put on a show here to start the season. But Justin, talk to us about like coming out of Gainesville. We get the news that you're going to be the class sponsor for the rest of the season, along with Elite Motorsports, in kind of a joint effort there as the title sponsor for the Pro Mod class. Like, how did that come about? And was that something on your radar? And what's that mean for you for the rest of the season?
Justin can't hear you guys. All he can hear is me.
Oh.
Yeah. So he just texts me, but for some reason he can't hear you guys, but he can hear me.
Okay. Tell him what I just asked him.
I'll tell you, Justin, what Mike just asked. Just tell us about getting involved. Well, fuck, now he's gone. He left. Justin's gone.
Well, let me tell you about it, folks. Sorry. I'm going to take over
Your
for him.
Canadian accent sucks, JT. You got to work on that.
It's really bad. It's really bad. I sound like I'm from Mexico or something. Yeah. wrong direction.
I was wondering he was giving us that look.
Hey, now I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
Hey, and I got a little update. That red arrow thing, don't push that.
It solved it. It solved it, Justin.
Okay, so what were you guys saying?
We were just asking how, obviously to start the season, big news that JBS stepped up as the title right sponsor, your company of the NHRA Pro Mod series, along with Elite Motorsports as the presenting sponsor of the series. It just feels like there's been a lot of enthusiasm around NHRA Pro Mod to start the 2026 season. Like, people can say whatever they want. I know a lot of people like to use car count as the ultimate measuring stick. I disagree with that. There is buzz around the NHRA Pro Mod series right now. There's energy around it. I'm getting calls from racers and race teams saying, hey, I want to run that deal. I want to get involved with that deal. I'm talking to people that are trying to buy Pro Mod cars to go run that series. So, I mean, first off, congrats. And like, what do you make of that? What brought that all to be, and how do you feel about it? Excited and whatnot?
In full transparency, we had marketed ourselves for a little while. We wanted to do something a little different as far as a marketing partner. I am on the board that kind of would say looks after and administers the class, like what Danny and Steve Matusik used to do. We created a board, and I'm on the board. So to try to separate the conflict of interest, I've always kind of wanted to sponsor the class, but I didn't want to have any conflict of interest. So we held out as long as we could. We were looking for a company of sorts, some corporate sponsor, whether it was an energy drink company or an energy oil drilling company, whatever. We were looking around, and we got down, and we had some good opportunities in the hopper, but nothing was kind of buttoned up. And so I said, hey, let's do this. And I stood out of a board meeting, and the board had a conversation and voted on it. It went through, and our company's ecstatic about it. We think it's a great opportunity. We think marketing at NHRA Pro Mod is one of the best places that you can market, especially for the demographic of our customer base. We deal with farmers, and some of our customers do race. They're not probably ever going to race at the pro level. So for us, probably better ROI marketing at the blue collar level. Everybody in Pro Mod still has a job and works.
Yeah.
Right. I couldn't agree more, man. The highest level of grassroots racing.
Right. Like we lose on Sunday, we still eat on Monday, right? Pro guys, if they lose on Sunday, it's like, well, we're doing Chick-fil-A on Monday, right? But if they win, they're doing a steakhouse, right? So
what do you think of that? Like, do you think that that's like Do you think that's an advantage or a disadvantage? Because there is a part of me that has felt at times, and this is like a deep conversation, but I think your perspective will be worthwhile. And I know we have limited time with you, but it's like there's an ongoing kind of identity crisis that I think drag racing has suffered from, where it's like we're trying to do this pro level racing thing and go be pro racers. But to your point, most everybody involved, especially in the door slammer drag racing community, has businesses to run or have jobs to work and have other responsibilities. Do you think that that's like, part of me feels like that may be Pro Mod's superpower, is that this group of people has the resources and collectively can go racing based on businesses that they've built elsewhere and are not, reliant on the next hero sponsorship deal.
I don't want to say something that I would regret. I don't want to because I have this knack of saying something and people get upset and think like I'm a jerk. But in all reality, if you stand back and you just kind of wipe your little mental palate clean and you think about 2 years ago, Wes, were you involved in this pro deal? Right?
Yeah.
Well, is that not what Pro Mod is? You guys were actually trying to copy us. And I'm not saying that we're better than them. That's not it at all. This is where I'm saying, like, I'll insult somebody and I don't mean that. But what I mean is pick a number. It's 18 to 28 guys. They've all kind of become a little part of association. We sell our own races. We do our own hospitality. We do all that. So, I mean, I keep trying to tell our people that we are really just a traveling circus as a group, these 18 to 28 guys. We have a product. Our product is quarter mile pro mods. We are the only quarter mile pro mods, I believe, left. So we have a niche market. We have a good audience. We have a healthy following. I think that we have good quality, competitive cars, good, decent drivers, other than my 80 delay box foot, but we're fine.
Dude, I actually completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean,
I've had that conversation with
approach.
a lot of team owners. Yes,
yeah.
That's exactly what we were trying to accomplish with the Pro Superstar Shootout. And I think what we ultimately did accomplish was recognize that, hey, like the people sitting in this room are the difference makers, the stakeholders, the people that kind of have their hands on the wheel. If we can work together and take matters into our own hands, the more of this stuff that we can control internally, the better. I mean, there have been team owners throughout the course of time that have tried to take over classes in NHRA the way that Pro Mod has been allowed to operate. So while I know that there have been some people that see it as problematic, I'm 100% with you. I actually think it's the pathway forward.
It's a be careful what you wish for type of scenario too, because everyone says, why is it Pro Mod a pro class? Why isn't it run with pro stock? Why isn't it on the TV show? All that stuff. But all that stuff comes with a lot of baggage, a lot of responsibility, a lot of commitment, a lot of things, and kind of having your own little silo, like you're saying. I think it has worked for 25 years for NHRA Pro Mod, and I don't think I think there's a lot of ups and downs that the process has gone through. But at the end of the day, I think if Pro Mod was a pro class in NHRA, I don't know that it would be any better. I think it could be a whole different set of problems that I don't think the class is really prepared to contend with. And I think that,
but it can help all. It can help all. It can help all the racers, though. I mean, you're getting more airtime that way.
But let me explain something to you guys. This isn't a conversation for today, but I'll just touch on it for 30 seconds. So first things first, NHRA Pro Mod Group has never had as good a relationship as it actually has with the NHRA. I can call Cromwell, Josh Peterson, Mike Rao, Evan Jonat. It don't matter who I call. I call Dr. Surface right now. Like, I just went through a deal with my foot. It was like instantly text, phone call, bing, bang, boom. Did this, did that. It's never been like Danny and Steve would be elated with our relationship that we have with them today. What I can also tell you is that going back to talking about, hey, how we used to have grade points to get in and we diluted that and did this and did that. Like, I will tell you, I honestly, truly believe if you made NHRA Pro Mod a pro category, it would actually be the death of it. For the number one reason is guys like me would not be able to get life insurance anymore. If I drive in a pro category, I can't get life insurance. If I can't get life insurance, I can't secure my debt in my business, which means I can't race. So that's the number one thing that nobody ever wants to talk about. Okay. Like, sure. And I'm just going to use a name, my friend Cameron Ferrer. or let's say Matt Hagan. So Matt Hagan probably has a life insurance policy, but does he have 40 million? Because you can't get it when you're in pro. Like you can get enough that'll pay for your burial and send a kid to college, but you're not going to be able to get any real debt insurance. And we're all blue collar workers. We're all business guys. So that would be the number one reason why it can't go pro. It would knock out some drivers. Right?
Never heard
That's
that.
interesting. That is interesting.
Makes
Yeah.
a makes a ton of sense.
That's a number one. Number two is like, I'm going to struggle to do 11. We tried 12 races before. It sucks. I can't do 20.
No.
And then because we all like the winter series, could you imagine if we all went pro, we couldn't come to your race, Wes? There's just no
I
way.
know. Yeah, no, I completely agree.
So I could go on into real deep details, but that's just the 3 high level things that are just like, it's not a good idea. Now, as far as even if we became a pro category, we're not going to leapfrog ahead pro stock bike. We're not going to leapfrog ahead of pro stock car. I mean, if NHRA did that, they would show that loyalty means nothing to them. And that would be a bad look. So we're going to be in our position that we're in as far as rank. And they've treated us in the last 18 months like gold.
That's good.
There's times where they throw out a qualifier, but when you actually have a conversation and they're like, well, there's garbage cans blowing across the racetrack. It's not safe. It's dirty out there. You have hardly any downforce. We'd rather not you crash a car. Okay.
Makes sense.
You know, but it doesn't make sense to everybody, especially the cars that aren't qualified that just needed that one more run. It doesn't make sense. And that's where I'm saying, it's like anytime you're in an argument, nothing really makes sense until you calm down and all the serotonin leaves your body and you go away and you sleep and you come back the next day and you're like, yeah, especially this happens to me. I was probably acting out of turn yesterday. Right? So like when the garbage cans are blowing across the racetrack in Las Vegas and we're all upset that they didn't let us go out there and make a run on the dusty racetrack. Right?
It's so true, man. Justin, we're gonna have to have you on here for like a 2-hour long deep dive because you really
he says
no, you bring some real interesting perspective to this conversation. And I think that's if we accomplish nothing here, I think it's that we've got to quit, like as a group, allowing this narrative to exist about the NHRA Pro. Like this deal is in a great place. There's a lot of great people that are involved. You've got a slew of traveling tour. I mean, I know we're trying to avoid the terminology now based on the life insurance thing, but like touring pros, you guys are committed to 11 races. You're touring all over the country. You're going from one coast to the other coast. Like you're doing everything that you're asked for. The NHRA granted you guys the opportunity to stream the races live and for free on YouTube in 2026, which I think is putting NHRA Pro Mod in front of a whole lot of people that maybe otherwise wouldn't have seen it or wouldn't have been willing to, throw down the money for an NHRA.TV subscription or didn't see the standalone show on Fox. It was able to make the economics of the NHRA Pro Mod series more manageable. I mean, I really feel like it's in a fantastic position. And everybody knows that like I'm the ultimate Pro Mod fan and I want you guys to get treated like rock stars. But I totally understand what you're saying is like when you're going to these events and you've got 20 funny cars or 16 funny cars, 16 top fuel dragsters, 20 pro stock cars, 20. I mean, it's a lot to manage. And I understand the way they do things for the most part. I think that I'm glad you said all that because we have seen a real turning of the tide with NHRA here personally. And I'm excited for it because there's no doubt about it. I mean, you don't have to look any further than the crowds that they had at the season opening Gator Nationals. And then despite the heat in Phoenix, I mean, were you blown away by the fan support? I was, and I wasn't even there.
Oh, it was unreal. It was truly, and I'm going to tell you, like, if I don't know how they did it. I do not know how the fans sat out there and didn't die. Yep. Like, I'm not telling you that it was hot. I'm telling you it was like the devil was breathing on you. That's how hot it was.
Oh, tell us about.
And I think what was different is the humidity was really low. So a lot of times we're used to like being in a hot Atlanta or down in Topeka where you're like hot and you're sweating and that sucks in its own light. But I mean, this deal was like you were hot, but you get back to the hotel room and you needed to put cream on. And it wasn't that you need to put cream on for anything other than you're like dehydrated. Like you're like a prune. It was like, you were like a cook. You were like a raisin.
It's crazy, man. What was it like? I mean, I know we're limited on time here and we only have a few minutes left with you, but let's just run through the day. Round one, you're going up against Nick Januik. Great to see those guys turning the corner with that program. Take out Nick, go into the second round, go up against another big player in the NHRA Pro Mod series, Stan Shelton. You're in the 570s in the heat of the day. Go up against Derek Menholt, who has, obviously started the season with a bang, driving the car for Scott Tidwell Motorsports, the car that won the World Series of Pro Mod with Aaron Stanfield driving. You take out Derek Menholt with another 570. Then you go up against Stevie Jackson in the final, throw down a 573. Take us through that final round because, Stevie's had a couple of uncharacteristic red lights here early in 2026. We saw him really perform at a high level during the winter series, being one of the series best leavers. And we were anxious to see how that would continue in 2026 during the traditional season. But he goes 146 red in the first round. Did you throw him off? You playing games up there, Justin?
I'm going to be honest with you. I played games with everybody except for Nick Januik. Okay. Because it's not that I don't like any of them. It was hey, it's the first thing in the morning. If you guys don't know, Nick Janik's son had a little accident down there and a few weeks or a month ago. And I really like him and his wife. And I just felt hey, they got in the show. I want to go have an honest race with Nick and whatnot. Everybody else I jacked around because I couldn't cut a light for my life. I mean, I didn't know what to do. So I just did everything I could do, on a bracket race style situation where if I can't get him at the top end, or if I can't get him on the light, I gotta screw him up somewhere. So we're not bracket racing. I can't dial up a 10th and push him out. So I just screwed with him as much as I could in the starting line because I was terrible. When I'm telling you I was terrible, I was worse than terrible. So Stan was 006 the round before me, and I watched the video. And he went in last and was 006. And I'm like, well, you're going in first, and I'm going to make sure you get all that time to stare at that tree and maybe blink. And he was 56 or something. And then against Derek, me and Derek are such good friends that I'm sure he's over there just sitting in his car oh, I can't wait to ram it up his backside again. And so I'm bumping in and he's bumping in and he's in and on the torque converter. So I start laughing and hit the brake. And I'm like, well, we'll just let him screw around over there. And then I went in the rest of the way. And he was 16 the round before or whatever. And he's 50 or something against me. Yeah. And I've never been good. I was 80 all day. and then I got to race Stevie. So we get back in the lounge and somebody comes in my lounge. It was actually Tidwell. And he says, well, you're terrible. So whatever you're doing ain't working. And he's good. And I go, yeah. He goes, so the only thing you could try and do is rush him in. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. I'll do that. So I put my top bulb on, and then I did the cardinal sin, and I stared at his car. You're supposed to just stay focused on the tree. And I stared at his car, and once I seen his front wheel moving, I was like, okay, back to the tree. And as soon as his top light was on, I took 2 bumps. If you watch me stage in the final, it's as dirty as I've done probably in the last 5 years. And I just bury the car in there, get on the trans brake, and my foot's over top of the gas, and he comes right on in there, boom, boom, super fast. And I'm step on the gas pedal, and I'm about to let go, and he drives away, and I'm like, what did I miss? What did I miss here? And I'm not, Stevie is 50 times better racer than I am. I mean, I looked up to Stevie for a very long time when it came to racing. I really loved the old days when him and Keith Berry would get on the internet and shit talk each other and all that fun stuff. And, I have beat Stevie one time before in a final. I got a whole shot win over him in Atlanta. I would have been a lot more proud to sit up here and have a conversation like that versus him going 100 and whatever red and me going 100 green. We look like a couple of not very good drag racers. But I'll tell you right now, he probably got on the trans brake and wanted his thumb as light as he could. And sometimes it's you're telling yourself, be ready. And then it's oh, I was just too ready. That's what happens.
Too ready. You take it any way you can get it, man. But they don't go back and review all that. A win is a win. But coming out this year, you got the new engine program from Stevie with the KTR SF1. How's that been? I mean, obviously the car's running well, but you've run well in the past. So what's different about the program? Obviously got Personette still tuning it, but up in front of the pack right away.
I would say that first of all, this conversation today is about Pro Mod and right now currently. everybody in life, whether it's money or health or drag racing, you got your ups and downs and you got your peaks and valleys. And I always tell everybody, how would you enjoy the sun if you've never ever had rain, right? So sometimes it's got to rain. Then it gets sunny. You're like, wow, I really like the sun. Okay. But you talk to people that live 340 days a year of sun. They're like, I just like some rain. Yeah. Okay. So what's basically going on is you start out in like 2020 when I bring the car out and it's my centrifugal car, it's brand new. We had lots of good times, lots of good luck, setting world records. 2023, I won a whole bunch. I won 3 out of first 6 races, shit my pants, shit myself in Vegas, gave it all away.
That happens in Vegas.
Yeah. 2024, 2024, I think Jordy wins the world championship. 25, JR wins the world championship. There's all kinds of stories inside of all this, but the short version is, I'm down to a 1-car team. We're super focused. We've got a good core group of guys. And, I'm from Canada. We're not big on guns up here. I own a 22 to like shoot a coyote. And I feel bad because, Stevie got shot with his own gun.
Yeah.
But that was our deal. When we went into the deal, it was like, hey, I want the best equipment I can buy. And he said, I got the best equipment there is. And I said, well, that sounds like a match made in heaven. And away we went and inked the deal. But yeah, I'm just blessed. I'm blessed because I got a group of guys that all they want to do is win. And they learned a really valuable lesson when I put Travis Harvey in the car. He's a badass driver. He did an amazing job for me.
Yes.
I can't thank him enough. He's a stand-up dude. He's no drama. He's the real deal. And the lesson that they learned is that the race is won at the shop. And we had some bolts vibrate out of our converter drive unit and it leaked oil. And otherwise, we probably would have won that race too, because he's a far better driver than I am. And the car was just that good at that race too. And I think that's the big difference in all this is people think, you got to be awesome as a driver. You do. But the race is really won at the shop. I don't know how many pieces are on a Pro Mod, but let's say there's 2,000 pieces. None of them can come loose and none of them can fall off.
Yeah. And we've seen a lot of races lost by some.
Oh, 100%, man.
Minute, no part, that $3 part, takes you out.
Right.
No,
and so that's this race. I mean, all I can tell you is it's the guys and it's Brad. I mean, the guy is I like to think he's the best, but I'm modest, right? Like I'm biased. I mean,
dude, Brad, I would argue that Brad Personette is massively underrated in the grand scheme of things. I really do. I would argue that he's definitely a world-class tuner and also like an awesome guy that is, you got to get to know Brad a little bit. But like I seen Brad's dad, Mike, at World Series, and it's literally like we were hanging out yesterday. Like that's just the kind of people they are. And no, I'm really excited for you. And I know you've got a meeting, Justin, so we'll cut you loose, brother. Let's do this again in the coming weeks. We would love to we're seeing it in the comments. Everybody wants to hear you on here for a couple of hours. We're going to bring you on and you're going to co-host with us.
I will tell you this. The reason why Brad is, the reason why he's viewed and seen the way he is because he's not a social diplomat. He doesn't have social media with a reason. He doesn't go out there. He doesn't brag about his accomplishments. He doesn't post a time slip. He doesn't flex his muscles. He doesn't argue with somebody on the internet. He just goes out there, does his deal. He doesn't point at the scoreboard. He just walks back to the trailer. He's a calm deal. And I can say this, I definitely have the tallest tuner in Pro Mod. But he's just, and if you knew his story, I mean, the guy started out running a taxi cab company. He's an amazing guy. And that's why our team really works is we just got people, they all want common interests and they just want to be the best. And that's where we're back to. In 2023, I think we had the most consistent, fastest car and it made people screw up. And that's where we are. And we're going to roll that whole deal all year long. And when this one runs out of tricks, we'll bring another car out that's full of tricks too.
That's what you got to do, man. I tell you what, there's a whole lot of championships that have been won by guys messing up against a car that they're intimidated by. You know what I'm saying? Or knowing that car is going to be a problem. So I know you're in the driver's seat right now, my friend. It's great to see you in the winner's circle, and we'll see you at the next one. All right, buddy. Let's schedule a time when you can come on here and hang out for a little while.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much, and everybody
Thanks,
have an awesome
Justin.
week. Bye now.
Stay out of trouble, buddy. Justin Bond, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Justin.
Dude, he's such a good interview. Like, it's candid and just like off the cuff. He does I mean, I wish we had more time to talk.
Yeah, I like his analogies for everything.
Oh yeah, he's got that. Remember when we had who'd we have? Oh, Mason Wright was on the show, and Mason Wright, he's not gonna say a crossword about anybody, and we were trying to fish out of him like, who is your biggest rival in? And he said, man, I don't know, and he eventually landed on Justin Bond, and I think we asked, didn't we ask J.R. Gray?
I think we did.
About his helmet. He got his helmet painted or something, and in the back of it is like an illustration of him like stomping on Justin Bond's head or something like that. It's like he's the target. I forget what it was. It was some deal. And
it was something like that.
If you ask these NHRA Pro Mod guys, they all love him, but he's the target. Like he's the guy that they want to beat or whatever. And it's because of some of the stuff that we saw just now. But yeah,
dude, it's that
down,
Canadian.
He's a great dude.
It's that Canadian curtness is what it is. It's like we've had a lot of experience with that here at Drag Illustrated over the years. You know what I mean? And he just has a way of, actually he just is constantly saying exactly what he thinks with zero filter. And you know what? I'm here for it, man. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Let's talk a little bit before we get our next guest of the day on here. Just like take a look at the NHRA race as a whole. Car count, we knew this was going to be a conversation headed into this first head-to-head matchup where IHRA and NHRA would be competing on the same weekends. There's about 4 of these on the schedule, I think I checked this morning, and concerning, but perhaps a different conversation. It's definitely going to cause some, specifically in Top Fuel and Funny Car, some guys to make some decisions.
I mean,
but
how
still
many, though,
strong.
Like how many Top Fuel and Funny Cars were at IHRA that would have normally been
a couple?
Just like a couple? Like Salinas, who else?
Salinas, potentially Doug Foley. Pritchett was driving for Foley, scored his first Ironman victory, which was fantastic to see. My point was more so that just like that is that regional kind of filling the gap. I think we're seeing that. We will have largely seen that dissipate. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if you've got some guys that know they can slide into a West Coast race, because they've got a decent shot at qualifying or whatever, but now they have an option to go race at IHRA, perhaps 8th mile, perhaps against, more equally paired or equally yoked competition. They're probably going to do that.
I think it's regional, like you said.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see when we get an IHRA and NHRA race that are like on the same half of the country or remotely near each other and see how that plays out. But because this one was in Phoenix, NHRA was in Phoenix, IHRA is literally on the opposite side of the country.
And they're pretty much always that way. I mean, like IHRA headed to VMP in a couple of weeks, same weekend that NHRA is in Pomona for the Winter Nationals.
Yeah.
Then you've got IHRA in New York, while NHRA is in on the West Coast during the Western Swing or what's left of the Western Swing. So, I mean, I do think there's a downside risk for NHRA on car count wise, but I think it's also providing a home for a whole bunch of teams that were probably on the fence about, weren't sure how many races they were going to go to for competitive reasons or budgetary reasons, that are probably racing more. So there's a victory. I think there's victory to be had. You know what I mean? Here straight away, in my opinion, just for there's more places for Top Fuel and Funny Car guys to race. But we did see it, I believe, impact car count to some extent in Phoenix. The story of the weekend, without question, was just the temperature. But Sean Langdon getting the job done in Top Fuel. Of course, Ron Capps on our digital cover of Drag Illustrated this week, taking out our longtime friend and 2023 World Series of Pro Mod champion Spencer Hyde, who made yet another run to the final round and came oh so close. We're going to see our boy get her done here in the very near future. And then Dallas Glenn. First win of 2026, takes out teammate Cody Coughlin. Interesting weekend across the board, really in all of the pro classes, but not at all surprised to see, Dallas Glenn in the winner's circle come Sunday afternoon, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, kind of back to the winning ways there, both the KB cars in the finals. And then, like you said, I think I got to look at my bracket because I had Spencer going some rounds in my drag race bracket.
I did too, but
because we talked about, I think didn't we talk about that last week, JT,
Mhm.
with Brian Loans? We talked about some guys that were ones to watch in the adverse conditions. And Spencer was one of those names that came up. So I kind of kept that in mind when I was making my bracket.
most of my brackets got busted pretty early last weekend, but
dude, it's bracket busting season,
Ooh.
right? We got
Boy.
March Madness fired up,
Yeah.
Drag Race Bracket Bonanza fired up,
Yeah.
and we're seeing bracket busters abound here. Let's go ahead and bring on our second guest of the day, fresh off this final round run, the one and only Spencer Hyde. What's up, Spencer?
What's going on, guys?
what's
Not
up?
much, buddy. How the hell are you? Back in the office, back on the grind already?
I literally just walked in the door. I've been on the road since 5 o'clock this morning, taking some flooring up to a job, and did a little site visit, and just back to the office, getting caught up in some emails.
This is
Nice.
a Canadian
Fun.
show today. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we're almost
Yeah.
full Canadian. We went Justin
Yeah.
Bond, but we're going deep south here in a minute
Yeah.
with John Sears. So we'll balance things out. Spencer, take us through your weekend. We talked to Justin Bond just about how incredibly hot it was. Just curious, kind of like as a driver, it's hard enough to focus yourself to drive one of these 12,000 horsepower, 300-mile-an-hour monsters. You know, go up against the Ron Capses and J.R. Todds and Matt Hagens of the world. But to do it in those conditions, did that add a new wrinkle to this whole rigmarole for Spencer Hyde?
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievably hot. As a Canadian, we're just not built for that. It was up over 100 degrees a couple of the days, and it takes a little bit of time to acclimatize yourself to that. But you do things a little bit differently. Try and get in the car a little bit later, with a few less pairs in front of you than you normally would. Just so you can sit in the tow vehicle in the air conditioning for a little bit longer. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward weekend. Just went out there and did our thing, and thankfully we had some tricky conditions in Gainesville, and Jim was able to find a really good hot track tune-up. Inadvertently, when we weren't in on Q4 in Gainesville, we basically had to figure out how to slide the thing down there, and when we did that, we kind of found some stuff that worked on a hot, tricky racetrack. So we just took that and applied it to qualifying this weekend, and got a good rip off the trailer there Friday morning, 97, and that held up for the rest of qualifying, and then basically just loaded qualifying runs into the different elimination rounds and went to the finals. So yeah, pretty happy. We were, would have been nice to get that win against Ron. I think that would have been kind of storybook for my first Wally to be against my hero Ron Caps, but it wasn't Phoenix. So
Well, I'll
maybe it
tell you
will
what,
be
man. There's
Pomona.
no doubt you'll be lined up against Ron Caps again in the not so distant future, I'm sure. Tell us about, like, does Jim Head? We've seen Jim Head in the past, who obviously owns and operates the car that you've been driving the last season, and here to start 2026. Racing with him, he's one of those guys that we've seen just want to go fast, swing for the fences, that type of thing. But what's it like when he gets in those tricky conditions? Does he enjoy that challenge of like trying to navigate that track and be the one who can, make chicken soup out of chicken shit, so to speak? Or is that like driving him crazy the whole weekend because he can't just go nuts getting after it?
He always enjoys a challenge, but he hates going slow more than the challenge. He really hates going slow, and as Jim says, him and I race for different reasons. I'm racing for Wallies and win lights and chasing points. Jim chases the ET flip. That's the reason he's there. He's there for the challenge of having the lowest number on the ET slip. That's what's important to him, and I get it. I mean, that's the scientist mentality in him, is being able to outsmart the other crew chiefs. That's what he enjoys. I'm really trying to get him to reel things back and get the thing to go A to B. And he was in the trailer going, God, we got to pick this thing up. We got to pick this thing up. And Dave and I are sitting there like, we're in the finals. Like,
Yeah.
things are going pretty well. But He admittedly got a little bit greedy in the final there. Thought we had to run like 06, 07. I thought we had to go like 09 or 10. And anyways, it is what it is. I'm not throwing him under the bus. You can't go up there undergunned. Caps and Guido, they know how to win. They know how to get down tricky racetracks. And you can see the adversity they fought through after that nasty explosion second round. So, like I said, you can't go up there undergunned, and Jim just normally the final gets a little bit quicker. You know, when you're doing 11 or 12 o'clock start, but we started at 10, so you're 3:30 in the afternoon. The sun just hadn't quite lost the intensity it normally does for a final round, and we got a little bit aggressive and smoked the tire. So is what it is. But to answer your question, Jim does not like running in those conditions.
You wouldn't know that though, watching this weekend. And I mean, are you guys kind of coming together and meeting in the middle on that? I mean, would you say that over time, like gelling more to, you know, your goals, his goals, and just kind of meeting somewhere in the middle? Because you know, we always say you have to learn how to win, right? I mean, both you guys know how to win, but it's like you're so close to breaking through to that first win. And it feels like once it happens, it's going to continue to happen. And you know, you're right there. So it seems like you guys have made progress and the car's more consistent, and we're finding you in later rounds. But is that something that has taken time, or, you know, or are we just now seeing it all of a sudden?
No, I think it's taken time. I mean, Dave and I are constantly, you know, picking at him to just get down the racetrack. And, you know, he goes, I know how to get down the racetrack. He wants to be the fast guy, like I said, and I get it. I do. But at the same time, you know, I'm there to try and win some races. And as much as Jim wants to be fast, he does enjoy winning too.
Oh yeah.
So yes, it's taken some time, but we were definitely reeling him back. You know, it pained him like crazy to go out there in Q2 and run 4:10 when Green went 3:99 or whatever it was, right? Like, I think we got outrun by a tenth, and like, we were happy because the car did exactly what it, you know, Jim told it to do. But you could see the other side of the ear smoking that you know, we just got outrun by a tenth. Yeah, I think we're getting there. We're getting on the same page. There's a time and a place to try and go get the brass ring, as he calls it. You know, Friday night, wherever you are on night run, you're going to load the thing up and try and run a bottom 80. But when you're in Phoenix and the track's 145 degrees, nobody's setting records, so you just might as well get down the racetrack.
Well, and it's like, I think first and foremost, I do think it's interesting that's one of the magical things about our sport is it like feeds different things for different people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is the mad scientist that is chasing those like engineering and math and time related. It kind of smacks of like land speed racing, right? But then there are other guys that are like completely content just squeaking into the field and like being that underdog, upset the apple cart, dark horse story. But everybody kind of is satisfied, finds their own ways to be satisfied by drag racing. But I would argue that this may be the first time in a long time that Jim Head has been paired up with a driver who has the ability to put him in the winner's circle. And we may see that organically shift, you know, just as he's going, you know what, we've got an opportunity to not only have, you know, a fast car, but win races, go rounds, consistently compete for a championship, which is something that, you know, may have felt, you know, not a realistic possibility for him in the past. But I mean, if you look at, I don't know your full plan for 2026, but I mean, there's nobody that's counting out Spencer Hyde and Jim Head right now. I mean, you guys are not at all a lame duck. I mean, you've got a Mission Foods win to your credit already, qualified #1 at the second race in the season in the most challenging conditions we've seen. We're getting ready to head into the heat of summer where we're going to see more and more of these, you know, type of conditions. I don't know, man. You can't not feel poised that, I mean, there's a real opportunity ahead of you coming off the momentum of an NHRA Rookie of the Year finish. I mean, this you got to feel good about the momentum you have.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got, you know, 4 round wins in 2 races, and it took me to 7 races last year to get 4 round wins. So monumental progress from last year. And last year's start looked rougher than it really was. Like, we didn't qualify for the first two races, but they were kind of circumstantial. I mean, Gainesville, we should have qualified 4th or 5th. We ran a 392. I had never had the car to the finish line. Never ran the car at night. I was looking for the finish line. I was staring at the cone, and I happened to hit it with the header, right? So that was inexperience on my end. You know, Jim kicked himself in the ass for not letting me take it to the finish line during my license runs, because he had me click it off at the 8th, and we, you know, went 396 clicking it off at the 8th mile. So that was, you know, they were my first full runs in that car were mid 380 runs, which, you know, Chad was like, "Why would you do that?" And Jim's like, "Well, that's what we got to run." So,
dude, I hated to lose him on that because it's true, right? I mean, that's what I don't know. There's an argument that could easily be made the other way, I'm sure, but man, it sure makes for a great story when you're thrown to the wolves like that.
No doubt.
Maybe we got him back.
He's
gonna have no audio though. Maybe.
What do I gotta do?
No, you're back. You're back.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. I got a phone call and I ended it.
Yeah, if you get a phone call, it's over.
Yep, we're almost back. We're back now.
Oh.
We're back.
Okay.
You're
I can't
good, brother.
see myself on the screen, but anyways, I don't know where I was at there, but
getting thrown into a 380 funny car on your first click in it, that's a hilarious story, dude.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what's it like racing with Jim. Like, for those that don't know, like, Jim Head has been a storied character in the sport of drag racing for what seems like forever. I mean, longer than any of us have been around. Jim Head has been a fixture in the sport, and he's had this interesting kind of aura about him throughout the years, or at least as Drag Illustrated's, you know, lifespan 20 years now. He's kind of been this off to himself, quiet, does his own thing, not chasing the cameras, not interested in doing a bunch of interviews or whatever, but he is universally respected. When he speaks, people listen. It's an amazing, like, to see you guys together is pretty cool. What's it like racing with him? I mean, you've got to have some wild ass stories about this guy.
Yeah. I love it. Jim and I get along really, really well. I don't know what that says about me, but he's a very unique guy. He's very smart. He's very opinionated, and a lot of people just don't know how to take him. You know, he says some stuff off the cuff, and you're kind of like, "Geez," but I guess I resonate with that. My dad's a bit like that, right? My dad's an old school, calls it how it is, and if you don't like it, he doesn't really care. And that's how Jim is. And I guess maybe growing up around my dad, I just got that. So, but it's so cool to sit in the lounge on Saturday night. Actually, Brian Loans came and did an interview with Jim about the development of clutches over the years in funny cars, and just to sit and listen to those two go back and forth. And like, Jim couldn't remember the years of certain stages of the development, and Brian could, like, you know, snap them off the top of his head, like, because Brian's such a historian, right? So just the three of us in the lounge for a while, drinking a beer and listening to that back and forth was so cool. Courtney actually came over. She's like, "I'm done." I'm like, "You got to go sit in the lounge and just listen to this for a little bit." Like, it's so cool. And like I said, he's such a smart guy, and we get along really well. So racing's been a lot of fun. And he told me that at Christmas time. He said, you know, we had some opportunities to go chase some other stuff, and I wasn't really up for it. And he said, "Good, I'm glad you said that. You know, maybe it's cheaper to go do some other stuff, but I had the most fun drag racing last year than I've had in a long, long time." And you know, I thought, well, I guess that means I did my job. If he's having fun, you know, my parents get along with him and Tammy. They're great, and it's been nothing short of spectacular. I'm having a blast racing with Jim.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. And I'm really happy for Jim, because he deserves that as well. Like, for God knows how much money he spent chasing the drag racing dream, how many years, how many miles he's traveled chasing this. And it's great to hear that he's still having fun, because at the end of the day, I've said this before, the economics of our sport have been broken since day one. right?
Yeah.
Like the business model here is questionable at best, but there is nothing like having success in this sport. And you see it from people all the time. I mean, you have a guy that goes out and wins his first race or sets a record or has a career weekend. And we kind of jokingly go, well, he's hooked. You know what I mean? Like, he's in for at least 3 to 5 years. There ain't nothing. He's going to be chasing that every single day, chasing that euphoric feeling. Cause there's just nothing like Justin Bond said a second ago. He doesn't know how many parts are on a Pro Mod. Let's say 2,000, but like every single one of them has to work. Every single one of them has to stay on the car, stay bolted together, stay in its specified place. And I don't know that people really understand like how validating and the feeling that comes like when it makes a good pass and you win a round. Like, I always joke with people, I wish every fan could experience that ride down the return road on the golf cart after a round win. You know what I mean? Because that level of excitement and satisfaction, you did it with your guys, everybody's amped, like it's irreplaceable. I mean, those are like some of my fondest memories from a lifetime spent in drag racing.
Yeah,
are those
like, and now that you don't do it anymore, you're still chasing that feeling. Like that's probably the number one feeling that I miss now, is that feeling you just described. And like, you come back and everybody feels like they did their part and was a part of that moment. Like those are the awesome times. But it is like you said, it's cool to see Jim and Spencer. Like, Spencer's kind of the face now, right? Like, good with the fans and interviews and this driver that everyone is gravitating toward, which is not really what Jim is about, but it's kind of like what Spencer's bringing to the table. And I think, you look at the point standings now and you look at the success you've had to start the season, you guys are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think I think we're going to see you guys, this could be your breakout year. I feel like, last year getting your feet wet, getting acclimated, like this, second year with this team together. And I'm sure you have a lot of your same guys that are back with you again this year, a tight knit team. I think that maybe we haven't talked about enough, like your the potential to see you in the top 10 or win a championship here.
Yeah. Obviously that's my goal. And I hope, and I think that Jim will help me chase that. He's already showed that in the early part of the season. He's committed to winning some rounds here and trying to put this thing in the winner's circle. And you mentioned the team. Like, Jim has assembled a fantastic team. He's the first one to admit that he's got the best team he's ever had in 45 years of doing this. Wow. 46 years of doing this. And the 4 kind of core road guys, we're not drag racers aside from one of them. They came here 4 years ago or 5 years ago, had never been to a drag race other than one of them, and went to the finals in Gainesville. Just, listened and picked up on how to do things really well, and just they repeat and they don't make mistakes. And then Jim's had the same kind of fly-in crew for, Dave Leahy's been there since 1991. Wow. That's when I was born. Chris, Dave's kind of main guy at Electromotion, has been coming to the races for 20 years. Glenn, that does our cylinder heads, has been there for 12 or 14, and he was with Warren Johnson before that. Just had the same group of guys, fly-in guys. So it's a really, really good team. Like I said, they don't make mistakes. I watch these guys before the semifinals. We're getting the car right, they're lashing the valves, and they are wore out. It's 100 degrees. They're now turned the car around for the second time of the day, and they are wore out. And like you said earlier about coming back on the return road, pulling into the pits before they got to service it for the final, and complete turnaround. These guys are amped up. They're high-fiving, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're excited, and they just go right back to work. When they probably want to throw in the towel. But that's the feeling you get of winning rounds out here. It's they're high highs and low lows.
It really is, man. This sport will break your heart, right? I mean, it will take you to your highest of highs and moments later take you to the lowest of lows. But man, I think you guys, like Mike said, we saw you really have a breakout season last year, but the start to the season in 2026, the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series already feels different for Spencer Hyde. Tell us, I mean, obviously, I know you're out there working deals left and right, got some exciting stuff coming for later in the year. I'm sure the economics of this deal is still one of the biggest hurdles for everybody involved. Like, as a young up and coming guy that's looking to make a run here and perhaps, be, a full-time drag racer, we've seen record-breaking crowds. We saw what Brett Kepner, our in-house Drag Illustrated statistician and historian, says was the biggest crowd ever assembled in the history of drag racing at the NHRA Gator Nationals. Another incredible crowd despite the heat at Phoenix. I mean, television looks good. I mean, what's the environment like out there?
Man, it feels good. It looks good. It feels good. It's definitely buzzing. I mean, every drag race I've gone to this year, including the Winter Series, I mean, the fans are coming out and the people are paying attention and the TV ratings look good and the viewing numbers look good. And I mean, I'm excited. I think the sport as a whole is in a good spot. I think NHRA is doing a great job of playing up the 75th year and really leaning into the legends. And, they had Snake in the booth this weekend and they had Bob Fry in the booth in Gainesville and just some cool stuff like that I think is important to pay homage to the people that laid the groundwork for us. And Jim's doing a hospitality deal in Chicago for the Greek. He's 96 or 97 years old. Still,
I don't think anybody knows. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, he's got two. I found out the other day he's got two birth certificates. One says 1929 and the other says 1930. So I don't even know if he knows which is true.
He
but
probably doesn't.
He's still wants to be there. He was in Gainesville. He hung out in the trailer. He's telling me he's bringing a couple cars to Chicago. Wants me to sit in them and see what it felt like back then. That's cool to me to see those guys, to see NHRA and us current drivers pay tribute to those guys. And I'm very excited how our season started, and I think that we can carry this momentum through and be a real contender.
What do you make of last thing? Just huge. It does seem like we're seeing some fresh faces emerge, right? Like yourself, we've obviously talked about that, but in the absence of John Force as a driver and kind of like the changes as a whole that we've seen with John Force Racing, I think there were a lot of people waiting with bated breath. Like, how is this going to look? How is this going to feel? Not having John Force as part of the mix, not having Brittany Force as part of the mix. We've obviously lost, Courtney and Ashley to regular lives, you know what I mean, and moving on. But we've seen some faces emerge. Yourself, Maddie Gordon, and Top Fuel. I mean, we saw that on our end, just from the business side of like how much web traffic content around her generated, the amount of social media impressions that she generated. Do you feel like there's kind of a new crop of stars that are emerging here? I mean, can you give us a sense of, kind of how you feel about these new faces emerging in NHRA drag racing?
Yeah, I think there's some great young talent out there. I think Jordan Vandergrift's going to do well in that car. I think Alexis DeJoria is not that she's new talent, but she's in a different position. She's got a new aura about her. She's happy. She's comfortable. She's excited about where she is. That's going to be a tough team. Mike Neff and Yanni Lindbergh, they know what they're doing. They're gonna make that car tough to contend with. I mean, she already went to the finals at the first race. So Maddie Gordon, I don't know what to say about her, man. That's the real deal. That's a drag racer. I mean, she is kick ass. She's good with the fans. She's good with the sponsors. She's good with the media. She's not just a driver. She's not just a pretty young girl that wants to go out and go fast. I mean, this girl can build engines. She can drive an alcohol funny car and shift on time and leave on time and load the clutch. Like, she's a racer. I think it's the coolest thing that's happened to our sport since John Force. I really do. Her interviews almost sound John Force-esque when she gets out of the car.
JT said that actually. Dude, after one of her interviews. He said that Maddie's got that John Force energy in her top end interviews. And I didn't put it together at first, but when you look at it through that lens, it definitely, you can see it.
Yeah, I think Ron Capps is the smartest team owner out there for putting her in that car. I think that's going to take that team to new heights. I really do. I mean, Ron's great with his sponsors and fans and stuff as well. But that's just brought a whole new life to that team. And I think, I mean, you've already seen it. She's gone to the semifinals twice. Ron just went to the finals. As much as I hated losing to Ron on the weekend, watching them battle back from that whole deal and win, that's a feel-good story for everybody, especially Ron Capps Motorsports. So,
and Ron knows how to, like, I mean, there are not many other examples of people who have done what Ron Capps has, like these deep relationships with sponsors. I mean, all the additional stuff he does for fans, all the shows and trade shows and conventions that he attends, all the media he does, like he's got a playbook that he can put in front of Maddie that, you know, with her charisma and star power, I don't see any reason in the world she's not amongst the faces of drag racing in the coming years, if not immediately.
No, you're 100% right. And I met Ron at trade shows. So I had a Napa sponsorship for the first good chunk of my career. So I got to meet Ron at a bunch of different trade shows, and I interacted with him, and the Napa people, like they love him, and he treats them well and they treat him well. And he's so good for that brand. And so like you said, like he's already got the form work and the playbook to show Maddie, and she's got such a personality and that bubbly, you can't help but feel excited when she's around just because she's got so much energy. I think that's great. The sport needs more of it. I wish I had more of it. I'm not that energizer bunny like she is, but you know, it's great. But yeah, Ron's he's a true ambassador of the sport. Look up to him a lot. Try and set myself up to be like that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Last question on the Funny Car talent pool right now. One of the more interesting storylines I think that to have watched as a fan in 26 has been this kind of heel turn for Austin Prock, right? Like we've seen him be this multi-time champion, really kind of a lot of the things we were just saying about Maddie, right? Like full of energy, gives these wild, high, emotional, top-end interviews. He's clearly a very talented driver. He's, you know, his family's, he's got all these things, all these kind of intangibles and tangible skills. But then we see, you know, obviously news over the offseason that he's leaving John Force Racing, going to Bob Tasker Racing. We see them fail to qualify at the first race of the season. He gives some, you know, kind of tense interviews, and you see like the fans, like the way, like I hate it for Austin because I like Austin as a person and I've got, you know, but it's also like I love seeing this energy from the fans where they're kind of casting their vote, you know, I mean, and it's, I think our sport is going to need baby faces and heels to get where we're going. Like the same way Stevie Jackson, almost every time he comes on this podcast, I would argue every time he speaks publicly, says something inflammatory, right? And probably pisses somebody off, but I'm here for it. Right. And I mean, and sometimes I'm on the wrong end of those things, but our sport needs those type of personalities to grow because that's what drives the fan base forward. And I'm just curious, what's your take on this whole Austin Prock heel turn? He had some choice words for the fans on the internet that, you know, and all of that on the top end. And I mean, do you think that he's going to be able to kind of, there's no doubt in my mind that that team will be a threat in the very near future. They already are. They've had a rough start, but I'm just curious, like, what do you make of that whole environment? Can you sense it? Give us like the first person eyewitness account of like how things have changed from last year, this year around Austin Prock.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, they will win again this year. That there's a lot of smart people over there. They will put that thing in the winner's circle this year, guaranteed. They put themselves in a tricky situation, or I shouldn't say they put themselves. They got into a tricky situation. I mean, everybody's a John Force fan. When you leave John Force, just his fan base is so large that immediately 3/4 of them are going to hate you. It sucks for Austin. Sucks the way that started. But the only reason he's showing the negative emotion is because he cares and he's so driven to win. and he's got used to winning, and that, you know, a little bit goes to your head. Like he's the best driver out there. There's in our class. I'll admit it. Nobody can leave as quick as him, as consistent as him. He can pedal the car really, really well. He's got that feel in his ass. He can tell what the car is doing. He's a race car driver. But yeah, he's got himself in a bit of a hole here, but they'll be back. You know, like you said, the sport needs both sides of it. We need the heroes and the villains, and he's been the hero for the last 2 years, and he's kind of playing the villain card right now, or the villain role. But they'll be back. They'll figure that out. Jimmy and Tommy and the whole crew over there will definitely figure that thing out. They're not underfunded. I read the comments online about, you know, they're never gonna have the funding that Force had and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if anybody has Google. If you Google the Tasca family and Ford, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, they'll do all right. I mean,
yeah,
and I almost think it's kind of
though.
fitting. Don't you think, Mike? Like
Yeah.
Bob Tasca is almost like Bob's a lovable guy, big energy and all that stuff, but he also has a little bit of that in New England, you know, kind of tough guy talk about him. And I just, don't you think he's going to be like, they're kind of tailor-made for this role, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bob was kind of starting that toward the end, or not toward the end of his driving career, but toward the middle to end of last season with the IndyCar deal, where he really, you know, like, we're the fastest sport. And he kind of really took offense to that. And we've seen some of that come out of him here lately. So yeah, I agree. But it's crazy to look at the point standings right now. Austin Prock is tied for 15th right now in points, with 32 total points through two races. I know that'll change, but that's definitely not where you expected to see that team through one race, and especially through two races. So they do have a little bit of a hole, but it can change quickly. But it's that's certainly, we talk about all the ups of the Matty Gordons and things like that, but it's really been wild to see those guys. And then another name that we should mention, not a new face, but a returning face, Leah Pruitt, making her return and going to the finals this past weekend. I think that's a team that looks really strong coming out of the gate. So another team that's, like I said, not a brand new face, but another face that we've got back behind the wheel this year. Just a lot of exciting in both the Nitro classes, a lot of exciting storylines and a lot of new teams that have moved around. I mean, this is something that with the crazy silly season that we had during the off season, we should have kind of expected this chaos coming out, but you sort of just expect, at least in my mind, you know, we're biased obviously, but you expect like NHRA Nitro racing to kind of go a certain way. Like it's going to kind of follow the pattern that it normally does, but this year's definitely not following that pattern. I think it's really great for the sport and something that's going to have all of us watching, you know, through the entire year.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think it's in a really good spot. There's some new exciting faces. There's the cream's always going to rise to the top. It may take a little bit of time for some of those teams, but you're going to see, you know, you're still going to see the guys you expect to see up there, be up there, and hopefully some new guys, including us. Like I hope that we're in the mix. I feel like we should be and we can be. And
oh hell yeah,
I'm hoping to break some hearts along the way here all season long.
It's crazy, man. We can't wait to watch it continue to unfold. We're headed next to the NHRA Winter Nationals, which is so weird to say. It's so weird to say it as the third race of the season.
They might have to rename that deal eventually.
Yeah, they may have
this is where
to,
it's going to be on the calendar.
But I actually hope they change it.
I don't, because my boss will not come back before March 1st anymore from New Zealand. So hopefully they don't put any races in February.
Yeah, no, that'd be bad. Can't do that. But
he said he remote tune. He said we could go and he'll just call in. Not sure how that works when he's 16 hours ahead or whatever it is.
That is hilarious. But no, dude, it's interesting times for sure in NHRA drag racing and our sport as a whole, man. Because that's one of the things that we've been talking about a lot is there's just so much racing going on. I mean, this past weekend is a great example. This upcoming weekend, I mean, there are so many events going on. PDRA is headed to Galat. We got Streetcar Takeover in Atlanta. I mean, Carolina. I mean, there's so many like significant races happening right now. We're on track already to have covered a record number of races in 2026, and last year was our biggest year ever, and I just don't see it slowing down anytime soon. I mean, it's kind of amazing, to be honest with you, that there are enough fans, that there are enough racers, that there are, enough people interested in what we're doing, that it's not just one place that's having success. It's a lot of places that are having success. So interesting times for sure, man. We look forward to seeing you coming
Spencer,
up in a couple of weeks in Pomona. Go ahead, JT.
Before you go here, I got to get your opinion on this tramp stamp I got to get, okay?
You're muted, buddy.
Am I muted?
No, he maybe just can't hear you.
I can't hear him.
Can you see it?
Yes.
What do you think?
I like it. Let's see.
I think it's going to look pretty good. Aaron Stanfield, 2026 Drag Illustrated World Series of Pro Mod champion. Aaron Stanfield. Okay. Yeah. Tramp stamp.
That's awesome.
Dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, are you really going to get it across your low back? I mean, are you going to do it?
I mean, it's not a tramp stamp. You don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I said I was going to. I'm going to do it.
For all the shit JT gives everybody else, we got to hold it. I'm so glad they're beat to the fire on this one. I thought you were shitting me when you said, like, you looked at me in this, like, before the semifinals and were like, I love Aaron, but I really hope he doesn't win, because I kind of told all them guys I'd get a tramp stamp if he wins this race. And I was like, oh, really?
I don't know if Spencer can hear me, but I was standing next to Spencer on the right behind Aaron's car when they took off, and the whole elite crew starts celebrating and jumping up and down and tackling each other, and Spencer runs in, and I'm standing there like, I don't know whether to celebrate or like to be pissed off right now. I just kind of stood there, but
well, hey man, it's it'll be one hell of a story. There's no doubt about that. And you know how I am about story value. We got a fan from the comments here, or a question from the comments
here.
Can
hear us.
Spencer, I can hear Wes and Mike, but I can't hear JT.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right. Well, he just told this whole great story. Well, hey, Spencer, be careful. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you taking some time with us on a Wednesday after you just got back into town. Stay safe, and we'll see you in Pomona at the NHRA Winter Nationals.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good one.
Appreciate you, brother. Congrats.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
All right, guys, let me take a quick second here and remind you all that each and every episode of the Wes Buck Show is made possible by way of our friends at Stroud Safety. Stroud Safety is known for their top quality racing safety equipment, from drag chutes and seatbelts to fire suits and blankets, all 100% made in America. Log on to stroudsafety.com today and make sure you tell them we sent you, guys. We are, I believe I can see in the green room. I can see a sunroof. Okay, I can see a sunroof. I can see some
John Sears has
never
done a show not from the driver's seat of his car.
No, he's always on the road, bro.
Yeah,
he's
constantly on the move.
Constantly on the move. Headed, I'm sure, out to the next stop on the seemingly endless John Sears World Tour, Carolina Gold. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for John Sears.
What's happening, guys? How are you?
We're great, buddy. It's great to see you, dude.
Yeah, it's always on the road.
Yeah. So where are you headed to Shadyside now, or where are you going?
Yeah, I am just outside of Charlotte and headed to Shelby, which is where Shadyside is located.
Oh my goodness, man. Well, tell us about, the overall vision for this event. What is this, the third year or second year?
No, this is the second year for Carolina Gold, but we have been doing events there with the guys at Shadyside for probably 10 years now. It started off as the nitro small block shootouts and stuff like that. We're gonna have a couple nitro small block classes and like a no time 275, 2810 deal, and then like super pro and pro to kind of round things out. And as this thing has grown and morphed and racing is taking on new classes and new challenges and stuff like that, Little Gangsters is just a perfect fit for what we want to do at Shadyside, especially leading into the King of the South event. It's just like, what did what's his name say? Peas and carrots, goes together like peas and carrots. And I really think that we've got like an outlaw 275, 2810 class. We've got Little Gangsters, of course, and we put no cap on this thing. I don't care how many show up. we are going to get you down the racetrack, and we are going to get you lined up with somebody on Saturday. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care what we got to do, but we are going to run every little gangster car on the property that shows up. So don't worry about invites. Don't worry about invitational. Don't worry about, oh man, I haven't contacted anybody. Show up, pay your entry fee, and put it in the beams. It's going to be a good time.
Do you have any insight on like how many car? I mean, we've seen Little Gangsters reach like kind of unbelievable heights, right?
Yep.
65.
At least 65 says Corey Stamper saying
65.
That's my assumption is because I mean it's almost unbelievable how many cars fit this category and how wildly popular it has become. Like we seemingly talk about it every single week right here on this very podcast. What do you make of the whole Little Gangsters movement, John?
Man, I'll just tell you in a nutshell. I brought my car back out after not racing for 4 years, and really put some effort into getting it down to Bradenton for the Snowbirds. And I was like, yeah, we'll enter the Snowbirds to see how we do. Well, within a couple of passes, we were on the number. And we went a couple rounds there, went a couple rounds at US Street because we figured shit, we did all right at Snowbirds. Went to World Series of Pro Mod, man, and I missed it. And we were out first round. So I left the car down in Florida, and they just went to the semis at Battle in the Bay against 27 other racers. So I'm not beating the crap out of my equipment. All these guys know to run a heads-up category. It's got to be on the ragged edge. And that starts to take the affordability out of the equation, right, for a lot of people. This is every man's class. It's kind of funny. The first year we ever ran X275 and started keeping records, the record was 531.
Wow.
So for this to be the new big dog on the block for every man, I love it. And I can't say enough about what Poland and Jimmy Dale have done. But then again, look at the support that you guys have given them. A lot of other promoters have stepped up and brought them into the fold and given them opportunities. But they've also created the opportunities, right? It's the everyman class. Dude, you for 20, 25 grand, you ought to be able to put something together and go out there and compete, right? I mean, if you've already got a bracket car with 1432s on it, put some 2810s on it, maybe put a plate nitro system on it, and go out there and tow it behind your half-ton pickup with an open trailer, and you can race up and down the East Coast for sometimes up to, if not more than what you actually have in your vehicle. And how often does that happen? So I think that's the appeal. The no time, right? Brilliant. Put it on the index, but nobody knows what it runs. Off the trailer sometimes no testing's allowed, sometimes testing's allowed, sometimes time slips. It's wild to think that people are as engaged as they are, but that says a lot about the personalities that are in front of it.
I think so too. I mean, I think that it's like this weird, perfect storm of like great promotional personalities, and Jimmy Dale and Poland, they do a fantastic job of staying in front of people. They've done a great job, like developing real relationships with the media. Like they've obviously forged a deep relationship with us here at Drag Illustrated. They've worked with a multitude of different promoters and tracks, and they've said yes a lot. They've just, and I tell them that a lot. That's a lot of times my advice. Like, whenever I normally get a call from Jimmy Dale or Poland and they're patching the other one in, they got something they want to ask me. And it's almost like I remember being like that in that phase here at Drag Illustrated where we just agreed to everything. Right. You know what I mean? Like basically every time my phone rang, whatever was pitched, I'm like, yep, we're in, we'll figure it out. We'll find a way. And, times change or whatever, and you have to become more selective, but they're in that phase of just saying yes and taking opportunities. And we saw them be a part of the Speed Promotions deal. We saw them, doing races way out on the East or West Coast, up in the Northeast.
Right.
I mean, this deal is growing rapidly. I mean, we're starting to see a lot of, movement in the Midwest even, which is typically a little slow to adapt to what's happening on either coast in drag racing. So the footprint that they've established in a really short amount of time is incredible, man. But it takes a lot of people, like your willingness to work with, even at our events. A lot of these guys have never raced at big major events or world-class racing facilities. So they may not have all the stuff they're supposed to have, but we're there to try to, walk them through this and grow them up over time and improve their programs over time. And so it takes everybody kind of contributing to a greater good. And I think that's the magic that we're really seeing with it. And I also think they do a good job. And this is something that is not something a lot of people do a good job with in our space, is like just a little bit of, what's the word? Resisting the urge to like have one every weekend. Like they can do it, and they've had a lot of races, but they're wise enough to know like, hey, we got to do this, but we're going to probably have to take a little bit, take a couple weekends off. They're not stacking events on top of the people. They're working with other promoters. And I think that to me is pretty incredible. But I got to tell you, I give a lot of credit, John, before you and I even knew each other very well. I don't know if you know this, but I referenced you all the time. And it was because of what you built with X275. And I talked about it all the time, is that I don't know that there was a better example of how it should be done than like, hey, we're going to set the rules. We're going to have a central nervous system, x275.net. We're going to, you pay a fee and you can run our rules, and we'll promote your race, and we'll put your race on our website, and we'll do all these things. And it almost became like a franchising of the brand. And it allowed you to, instead of having one, X275 race this weekend, it wasn't very long until there was 20 X275 races happening on the same weekend all across the country. Right. And it was serving different regions. And I remember having this conversation with Tim McCamus whenever the ADRL was kind of going through its, an evolution, an evolutionary phase, kind of going into its next phase. And I said to him, like, you need to look at what John Sears is doing with X275. This was like in fucking 2010. This is a long time ago. And I'm
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, because that's what I wanted to do with Pro Mod. Is I'm like, we need to establish a unified rule set, and then basically franchise it. We can't host every race. We can't, there's so much stuff going on. It's hard. There's not even enough room on the calendar, right? We need to just bring all these people under our umbrella and have them all running like rules, because that's one of the things that I think we've seen hurt Pro Mod specifically over the years, is bastardization of the rules.
John doesn't want to talk about Pro Mod rules.
No,
that's not what he came on to talk about. Man, but
we always seem to talk each other off the edge on that stuff, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, and not to jump in, but I mean, rules, tech, promoting now, and competing in the race too. Like you're a man that's wearing many hats. Like what drives you to keep doing that and seemingly keep adding more hats to your collection as you go?
It's probably a little ADHD. There's some of that. There's a little bit of just a drive to continue moving the sport forward. I post up something almost every day on Facebook, keep moving forward, your
motivational quotes.
Yeah. And that's, I don't post them for everybody. There's some people that are like, oh, that's, crazy, or that doesn't pertain to me or whatever. Every now and again, I get a couple of people that message me on the backside, and they're like, man, I needed to hear that today. If we can affect one or two people positively, that's an awesome start. Right. And I look at drag racing as the same. If we can affect people in a positive manner to continue coming back to the racetrack, it's why I do what I do on the safety side of things, where I'm not hammering the hell out of these guys and telling them to load up and go home. We're not going to let them go down the racetrack unsafe, but we're also going to understand that, hey, maybe they didn't understand what they needed. Maybe that guy spent his last dime to get there and doesn't have the 15 suit that he needs, but he's got everything else on the car that he needs. You know what? We're going to let you race. Know that in the future that we're going to hold you to a higher standard. But what are we doing to the sport if we take that guy and we tell him to load up and go home? That's not a positive thing. And it's not a good thing. And that's why I think doing what we do and the way we do it, World Series of Pro Mod, X275, Little Gangsters, all these different iterations of drag racing need champions and need people that understand that in order for the sport and the classes to be successful, somebody has to shepherd that stuff and be an advocate for it. And that's all I'm trying to do. I just want a place to race my car, dude.
Well, dude, and
Well
I
said,
think
man.
it is very well said. And I honestly think that's why you're such a great fit with our team, is that's what gets us out of bed in the morning. Is I say it all the time, is that despite how far our sport has come, and I'm certainly proud of it, right? I mean, the NHRA is celebrating 75 years this year. That's incredible, right? We're seeing some really amazing things happen in our sport, but I'm telling you, there's a lot left to go. Like this sport has so much room for growth, so much opportunity that it's not even funny, man. And I just think about, give me your, like, over all the years you've spent in the sport of drag racing, have you ever seen a wilder time than we're in right now, with just like the sheer volume of seemingly significant events? I try to think back through 20 years of Drag Illustrated, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but has there ever been a time when there has been this many? I mean, I remember when it was like the NHRA had 24 national events a year. Those were kind of the marquee happenings. There was a smattering of other races that mattered, but now it's unbelievable. I mean, we had NHRA with a massive crowd at Phoenix. IHRA is having their season opener in Galat. Meanwhile, Texas 2K has got full-blown pandemonium happening at the Motorplex down here in DFW, sold out. I mean,
that was insane.
Do you recall a time like this? Because I don't.
Here's what I don't recall. I don't recall the level of diversity with what we have. Like you just called it, man. We got Pro Mods and Top Fuel and funny cars. We've got Little Gangsters running. We've got imports and domestic cars going into the fives in the quarter mile on a 275 tire in Texas in front of record crowds. And then, you look at the high-end cars doing the roll racing there. And then you look at the million, bracket races and stuff like that. And all the local bracket races. I just don't remember seeing this amount of diversity, right, in the types of events. Then you throw in the radio stuff and the drag and drive stuff on top of all of that. Like if you were to comprise a complete schedule of all of these events, and we won't even consider like your local tracks, test and tunes, or their regular non-points bracket races, but just the larger events as a whole throughout the country. I don't think we've ever seen more diversity. And then the level of cars and competition, second to none right now. Second to none.
I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, it's like the PDRA starting their season this weekend. So we're going to see the stars of Pro Boost, Pro Nitrous, Pro Street, Super Street, Pro 632, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, all their bracket racing categories. We've also got Funny Car Chaos rolling into Tulsa Raceway Park, led by Chris Graves. They've got a 32-car field of fuel floppers scheduled, already pre-entered. Streetcar Takeover is like legitimately taking over. Atlanta Motor Speedway doing a pit road race this coming weekend. I mean, it's just, to me, like just wrapping your head. You got Sean Ellington and Ryan Martin doing their new Outlaw Small Tire Syndicate deal at North Florida. Matt Potkin is doing Project X Promotions. He's had a no prep event when I met him, it was in San Antonio, but Bounty Hunters 10 at Penwell Nights, Carolina Gold. We got a big no time race in Ferris, Texas. That's this weekend. I mean, what did I just name? Like a dozen? Like what I would
dozen quality events right there. And it runs the gamut from badass no time cars to top fuel cars and floppers. And I mean, you name it, it's out there. So if you're a motorsports enthusiast, a drag racer, now's the time. Get off your ass. Get something together. By the way, I know somebody's got a big block that'd fit nicely in that Corvette of yours. But I mean, if there's something out there that you feel like doing, now's the time. Now's the time, because just like I said, the diversity and then the locations, right? God damn. there should be something nearby that you can go to go out and have some fun. You can't make the excuse that, man, I don't know, it seems kind of far. Well, you know what? Find a spot and go. They're just about, hell, PDRA has Bracket Bash. Load your shit up and go to Darlington and go to PDRA and enter Bracket Bash. Come to Carolina Gold. I got Super Pro and Pro sitting out there. If you're not feeling froggy and you don't feel like running, in a bracket race, I have 630 Streetcar for you. That's going to be an index basically based on what Little Gangsters is. A little slower, a little more affordable. Come on out and try it. And if you're really feeling good, jump into the deep end of the pool with the killers over there that are, driving the stripe and Little Gangsters, or 20, the 275, 2810 stuff. We've got all of it. And if you're sitting at home this weekend, obviously the level of energy you have is not geared towards drag racing.
Yeah, there's no doubt, man. It really is a kind of a crazy time when you think about it like that. And one of the things that I think I'm most proud of is, like, throughout all these eras we've seen in drag racing, it seems like the attention has been kind of focused somewhere, where it's like, okay, everybody's talking about fuel racing in the 60s and 70s or whatever, and Pro Stock emerges in the late 70s. It kind of comes on strong in the 80s and 90s, were what a lot of people considered the heyday of that class, and there was a lot of attention there. Then we see kind of the advent of 8th Mile Outlaw Pro Mod racing. Then we see the rise of radial tire racing in the late 2000s, and it seems like the attention has been focused in like one place. To your point, John, it runs the gamut right now. I mean, and the fact that you could go spend $20,000-$30,000 on a car and race in a class that's hot like Little Gangsters,
right?
To me, that's the magic that's happening right now, and I'm proud that, like, that's what really Mike, JT, our whole team here, Nate, Craig, our whole editorial end of this business. That's one of the things that we focus on a lot, is that, like, we don't ever want to ignore what's happening in the NHRA or the highest levels of our sport, but we want to not exclude all these other amazing things and try to elevate them by associating them with one another. And it's like, I don't know that there's been like too many other media platforms in the history of drag racing that would do an interview with like Michael Poland the same day we're going to do one with Blake Bowser from the March meet, or
right.
You know what I mean? Or Tommy Franklin from PDRA or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
you had Stevie Fast
together. You had Stevie Fast and John Force on the same show.
Yeah, I mean, and those are, and like, to me, that was a banger.
Last week we had Loans on talking NHRA, then we brought Poland and Chase Lautenbach. Jimmy Dale popped in for a minute. So I mean, every week we try to do that. We just had Spencer. Now we've got you, but I mean, it's talking about just the range of what's going on out there. I agree with you. We've never seen anything like it. And the strength of the independent event, I think, is what we talk about a lot. And It's been coming for the last few years, and it's here now. Like, these independent events are everywhere. You just ran through that whole list. I think the strength of those compared, alongside the NHRA. Now we've got IHRA back again, kind of competing in their niche and with NHRA and with these other major organizations. That all makes the sport stronger, and I think that's what we're seeing more than anything.
It does, and you think about it for a minute. I'll just tell you what my schedule looks like for the next couple of weeks. Right,
we don't have the energy for that.
I got Carolina Gold this weekend. This is my event. I'm going to be running around like a chicken with my head cut off. We roll from that, and then we're going to go to Louisiana, no problem, and we're going to do Big Jake's no time event there, right? Then I'm going to slide on by, I think it's Steele, Alabama, to Mike Hill's 484 race the following week. Might as well stay in Steele while I'm there, because Radial Outlaws is coming a couple days after that. Once we get done with that, I got to roll, and I got to see Brother Dave over here, Nitrous Outlet. He's got his event going on at XRP. And then after that, I take a deep breath and we go to Rockingham for Swan Fest. It's only 7 events in 7 weeks.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, John. Oh my goodness.
Always on the move. So tell us about Carolina Gold. Like, what are the details, tickets, anybody that's wanting to check this thing out this weekend?
Yep. So you can find us on Facebook. It's the second annual Carolina Gold event. Hoosier is our sponsor, which is awesome. And we have our 630 sponsor, Barrett Shook Motorsports, also going to be in attendance. They're actually going to be racing Little Gangsters, which is pretty cool, having one of your sponsors actually racing too. So it's very cool to have all that. We're going to be down at Shadyside Dragway. We're going to be testing from 12 to 5 tomorrow, and then we're going to test from 12 to 5 on Friday. Yes, time slips will be given. Once that happens, we're going to be rolling into what we call shakedowns and our pro and super pro stuff on Friday night. Now we're going to try to get every Little Gangster car on the property down the track at least once. If they cooperate and it's not like herding cats, we'll probably be able to get them 2 shots down the racetrack as long as everything goes well, knock on wood. Tickets are very reasonably priced at $20 per person. We're not trying to kill you at the gate. Like Poland, paid all that money at Ennis last week at Texas 2K. I don't know if you saw his post.
I saw it,
$49 for a cheeseburger, fries, and a lemonade. And I actually grabbed that picture and I posted up. I said, you will not need to get a second mortgage on your house in order to afford the concession stand at Shadyside at Carolina Gold. And you can't get a bologna burger at Texas 2K. You can get one at Shadyside.
A bologna burger. Okay, tell us about a bologna burger. Is that a slice of fried bologna on a hamburger?
Think cheeseburger, nice, thick, good, 80-20 ground beef, little fat in it, and a nice, thick slice of fried bologna piled on top of that thing. And then whatever condiments you want, man. Lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, mayo,
we need to do
ketchup,
a whole episode
mustard
of the show dedicated to like the best track exclusive concession stand items.
We need to
have
absolutely, dude.
Van Abernathy would be great for that because he's been to every track in America, and I think he's got like a running list of who's got the best concessions.
That's awesome. But then we go into chip draws and eliminations on Saturday, and you guys are all welcome to come out. Gates are, like I said, they'll be open 10 a.m. on Friday and 10 a.m. on Saturday. We may even open a little bit earlier, just depending on the crowd size and everything. So should be great.
It's going to be slam-packed.
Shadyside's got brand new grandstands, by the way. So plenty of room to sit. I don't know if either one of you have been there, but it is a unique situation there by the starting line directly across.
It's one of the coolest racetracks, I think, in the country.
Yeah, for sure. You're looking down into the car, basically.
It's just got a vibe, bro. I mean, it does. Some of these tracks have it, some of them don't. I would argue that most all of them have something of a spirit or an atmosphere of their own, but there's few tracks that are like Shadyside. You know what I mean? It's just a special, special place. And I'm glad to see that track specifically be at the heart of so many of these great events, like your own. Obviously, the Southeast Gassers have a big, strong presence there. Corey Stamper's event coming up in May, King of the South. Like, I'm glad that it has, because I kind of was thinking about that the other day. Tracks need to, it's great when tracks have those events that are kind of attached to their identity. You know what I mean? And it's not a touring series, not somebody that's coming in and doing a show, but something that they're taking ownership of. And I think that that's a part of every successful tracks model, in my opinion.
I agree.
Well, best of luck to you, John. Be
Thank
safe.
you for
Don't
having
work
me.
too hard, man. I know I know that you'll absolutely work too hard, but we'll be praying for you. Stay safe, and let us know if there's anything we can do, big dog.
All right. Appreciate everything, guys. Take care.
Appreciate you. Be safe driving.
Thanks, John.
All right. Appreciate it. Bye.
All right, guys, as we wrap today's episode up, let me take a quick second to remind you that each episode of the Wes Buck Show is made possible by way of our friends at Redline Synthetic Oils, formulated to win, proven by you. We're talking about a brand trusted by the best in the business. Ty Tutterow, Steve Torrance, Callie Mills, Spencer Hyde, Scott Palmer, Tommy Franklin. The list goes on. These aren't just weekend warriors. These are champions, killers, and contenders who rely on Redline to get the job done. Formulated to win, proven by racers like you. Check out the full lineup at redlineoil.com. Guys, what else do we have? I mean, obviously, I was going to touch on a couple of things. I mean, we're down to crunch time here if we're going to wrap in 14 minutes. But obviously can't, we had PDRA Live last night. Great episode of PDRA Live with Nate Van Wagenen, Tyler Crossno, Kyle, Chris. Who else did they have on there?
Daryl.
There was somebody, didn't they have? Fletcher Cox. And a great episode of the show. Like a really, really good performing episode for us. I was like, oh my gosh, the numbers on this are like really good, man. So PDRA kicking off their series.
I think the winter series just helped all these other series as they kick off. Like, you've been watching drag racing the whole year. You know how these cars are performing. They're performing at their best, really, because they've been making hits all winter long. But I think it's elevated all the other series as well.
I think so too, man. I'm proud of that, because I think that it's cool to see all these guys, instead of like going to these first couple regular season races and like shaking out, working out the kinks and, the new car blues or whatever.
Yep.
They're coming in with a full head of steam. They've just went to war for 3 months against the baddest in the business. And now they're going to go race like more of their regular competition, the guys that they're used to seeing week in and week out. And everybody kind of goes to their region, so to speak. And
I kind of feel sorry for some of those guys they're going to race against now. People
that ain't no shit. If you've been sitting
that weren't
around
afforded the opportunity. I mean, it's kind of like having your kids set out a traveling league, for sports. I mean, it sucks. I mean, but do you want to travel around all the time? But when those kids come back, I mean, they're just so much above everybody else.
That's a really good analogy, JT. But I think that's, Mike, don't you, like, it's true. I mean, we've talked about that before. Like, if your kids are going to play sports, you almost have to have them involved in those traveling deals, because they're going to get so far behind.
It
all
sucks,
the other
but they're
kids.
behind. Yeah, and there's a clique that starts with those kids and with with the coach. These drag racers are going out there. They're ironing everything out. They're getting data. They are. They're just.
So we're the travel league.
We're the travel league.
Wes is the overbearing travel coach.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to start. I'm going to get some sunflower seeds or some big league chew. I'm going to get a real Coach Buck. That's fine. I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
Buck,
but
don't give a fuck.
I think there's some people that think that. But no, I think my problem is I give too many. I care too much. That's probably my biggest problem. I care.
You were talking about saying
yes.
I was
they care too, though.
Yeah, we have finally had to get you that book, The Art of Saying No, right? That's
yeah, it's true, man. It's a true story. It's on my bookshelf.
There's an art form. There's an art form to that.
Nah, dude. And it's, for me, that's probably been one of the things that has held me back the most, is just trying so hard to make everybody happy and being destroyed when I inevitably fail at it, and it's tough. And it's like, as your star burns brighter and like things get more, like there's more pomp and circumstance, there's more talk, like it just gets increasingly difficult. Right. And it's an interesting time, man. It really is. I'm genuinely excited for the PDRA this weekend. Yeah.
I was catching some testing on NC Pro Mod earlier today. Looking forward to seeing what kind of car count they get over there and who's running what. I think it's gonna be interesting. Obviously the nitrous guys with Pro Nitrous, but we did see a couple nitrous cars show up to NHRA last weekend and run the Outlaw Pro Mod deal, which I don't think is really like a permanent thing. But if you're going to run a nitrous car over there, that's sort of your spot. But we were talking about some of that overlap between those two series, and just to see how that goes back to back. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You got Galat, Darlington, VMP, Rockingham. All these tracks in this area, the small area, Pro Mod country, regardless of where these cars are racing, this is where their home base is from. So a lot of Pro Mod racing going to be happening between these two series over the next few months, and definitely looking forward to seeing PDRA kick off the season. They got the increased payouts that we saw. That's a big deal that the PDRA is stepping up and doing. So I think you're going to really see sort of a fresh approach this year with PDRA with some of the stuff that they're doing.
I agree, man. And it's like, I love seeing Pro Mods at Darlington. Like, I'm so happy that track is just back in the mix. Like, it was a scary time there for a while when Darlington had just kind of completely fallen off the radar. But honestly, I think back to the COVID years when, when they were doing events with Keith
COVID
Berry
years
came
in
back.
Darlington. I mean, that was some good times for you guys.
Oh yeah, they were great, man. But I mean, I just think that track, I'm excited to see it, like the stars and cars of the PDRA roll into that place. I haven't checked the weather forecast. Is it going to be nice out there?
Man, it's actually going to be hot the next couple of days and then get really cool. Like I'm talking like 85 tomorrow or something, and then like 50 something for the weekend.
Really?
So, yeah, like high of like 59 on Saturday, at least here in Mooresville. It'll be a little warmer in Darlington, but yeah, it's the weather's going to do a major swing, which I'm sure is happening all over the country, but we're going to have that here as well. So these guys testing today and tomorrow, it's going to be vastly different when they go race this weekend.
There's a couple. Raymond Matos making a lick right now. Didn't quite make it to the 3:30 before he had to shut her down there. But I was just going to say that it is an interesting time because, as I told whenever we were talking at the beginning of the show with Justin Bond, I did a rough count, and across PDRA, IHRA, NHRA, Midwest, and the Winter Series, there's 39 Pro Mod races, and it's like, you do start to wonder, like, okay, we've seen that this feels like a high tide moment, right? This is a high watermark, but it's like, what's the runway look like? You know what I mean? Like, where do we go from here?
I think it's still very regional. I mean, not NHRA or not, but Winter Series is obviously very regional, but look at PDRA and kind of their stomping grounds and where they run. That's Southeast focused. Look at IHRA. That's more upper, what do you call it? Central. Like upper Midwest. Ohio Valley area. Yeah. Then you got the Midwest Pro Mod or Midwest Drag Racing Series. That's obviously Midwest focused. So I think, like, if I were out there racing right now in Pro Mod, I wouldn't be mad at all about this current setup, because you can really stay close to, within 2 or 3 hours of home and run a complete series. And I think you're going to see guys we've heard from guys, that's going to be a big determining factor in their schedule, is geography alone. But I think you got to pick one and ride it. Like, you're really going to you can't run all of them, and you can't pick and choose here and there. You got to chase points, run for a championship, pick one and ride. So you're going to really see, I think, guys align and be dedicated to one series or the other.
I agree, man. And fortunately, we're at a point right now where there's the inventory of cars is such that it can support a good bit of racing. I think the next evolution of Pro Mod is going to kind of look like a regional national event model type of thing, where it's like there are these division type races that are higher level than like what we think of division races when you think of an NHRA, right? Mm-hmm. NHRA division races aren't not necessarily spectator driven events, but I think that Pro Mod could get to that point in the very near future where there was a world of divisional races that were happening that catered to racers in certain geographic areas, but then there was a handful of get together moments where all these groups got together and competed against one another. I don't know. It's for sure a really interesting time, man. But I hope they pack the place with the weather like that. I mean, hopefully they'll, have the place. Darlington is typically good. For
the forecast. It looks cool, but not wet, at least. So they'll be hauling ass, man. I really think they will be. Yeah, Darlington's a good track, and a lot of good cars will be there.
Are we going to have to bring a dedicated nitrous class to the Winter Series, Michael?
Oh man, that is the talk on the town. That's what
that's
what the people want to see.
You're going to have to, if you want to still see them. It's up to you guys. And
it's also like I definitely still want to see them. And there's a comment here from Alan Marcus. You should bring Nitrous Pro Mod to the Winter Series. At this point in time, I said I would never do it, but you never say never, right? And for me, I love Nitrous Pro Mods so much, and I love having those guys and gals be a part of the mix so much so that I think we're going to have to probably, that's been one of our things, Mike, right? JT, we've always talked about adapting, making, quick changes, not being afraid to take a big swing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that happen, to be honest with you guys. I think that it's got to be, we got to do it right. Like, we've got to make it, we got to find a way to create a storyline and a narrative where it makes sense and it complements what we're doing and it doesn't fracture people's attention. Cause that's one of the biggest things that I think about the lay of the land in drag racing right now. And as exciting as everything we just talked about, there is a other side to it, right? It's a double-edged sword where it's like people have so much units of attention to give, and you're asking them to try to follow all this stuff and follow all the different storylines across all these different sanctions and series and events. And it's a challenge, right? So I just want to, when we do it, I want it to make sense and fit, very well. But I tell you what, man, I could sure get excited about a 16 car, 20 car nitrous invitational deal that, brought the baddest nitrous cars on the planet Earth to one place at one time. And we get to see who's who.
Yeah, we got to look at it. It's time to unpack all that stuff and start to get to work on what our package is going to look like for December when we roll into Snowbirds, because it's not just that. We got to take a look at some other stuff too, because the turbo combination, roots blowers, diversity in body styles. We always talk about that, and that's a real tough one. But just you're starting to see things go down a narrow path as far as what's really dominant out there in Pro Mod, which it always does, and you got to stop and decide which direction you're going to go with some of this stuff.
And we got to look around and learn. Like, one of the things that I hear the most about like the next gen car in NASCAR is that like people hate that it's gotten to the point that it is, that everybody has the same stuff. And like, so it's like, do you learn? Because I think there's something to be learned from it, in that you're making it more readily available. The pathway to success is a little more manageable. And I think those are important things, but you lose some fan base, you lose some interest when everything looks cookie cutter and everything looks the same, sounds the same, etc. So it's like balancing those two is a real challenge,
That's true.
Yeah.
To me, I wouldn't give a shit if they were all the identical car and we're just looking for the baddest driver. But I know that a lot of people aren't wired that way. So
I can get on, me.
You have to have a mix of all of that.
Yeah, you do. And that mix is the hardest thing, I think, to accomplish, is like, how do you get to that mix where, hey, we've got all these different, you're trying to give the fans, because that's like, if the fans want it, that's what our responsibility is. And I think that that's one of the things that has made the Winter Series so successful, is that we listen to the fans and we try to bring the drivers there that they want to see. We try to put the drivers together that they want to see match up against each other. We try to create those moments, or the opportunity for those moments to happen. That's why we do the chip draw. That's why we try to do all the things that we do that create the crazy Stevie Jackson versus Kai Kelly moment, or the Ryan Martin versus Sean Ellington moments that fans want to see happen. So I'm glad, but I definitely am hearing the nitrous conversation a lot. And it's like, I know that I don't want to be part of a world where nitrous pro mods aren't a part of the storyline, man. Cam Hensley in here.
I was just run through in my mind talking about the NHRA Pro Mod winners. So good timing there. You popped right up. Congratulations, Cam, on your first Pro Mod win. That was pretty impressive. And also to Peter Norton on his win.
Dude,
taking out Jason Harris, man. How about that? Jason Harris with the #1 qualifier. Obviously, the car, we know the car to beat more times than not. 2 buy runs, and then it just got away from him, man. We were talking about that on Monday night on Boost and Bullshit. You know how Jason is. He's going to be hard. He can go out there and win it all, and he's hard on himself. So he was beating himself up.
He's beating himself up pretty bad.
Oh, yeah. But Peter Norton, man.
By the way, you did a good job on Boost and Bullshit.
Thank you, man.
I mean, I was hoping to hear Kyle talk a little bit more, but
we'll get Kyle worked in there eventually. It's his first time. We got done with that, and he was like, "Dude, that's hard. That was difficult." I'm like, "I know, man. My first time I did it, it is like you got to get."
I was in there in the comments. I was in the comments picking on you, but I noticed real quick. I noticed real quick you couldn't see him very well, so
I had to squint. I was a little further away than normal.
Yeah.
No, congrats, Cam, on your win. That was, I think,
and a lot of great runs.
Well, hold on. Yeah, I mean, a lot of great runs. I think he said that was his first time in the car, or the first time he made runs in that car or something, which was actually the former, I think that's a Jeffers built car that was built for, it's escaping, Derek Brown and William Brown. They ran that, I think, in NHRA last year. Yep. And then we see it make its debut under this umbrella here, man. And they really put on a show. But yeah,
No,
William
absolutely, dude. I mean, and it's like to your point a minute ago, Peter Norton, what a job. 0-26 in the final against Jason Harris. His lights were killer all weekend. I mean, he was like first round up against Craig Sullivan. He was 66. But I mean, from there on out, it was 21 against Randy Weatherford, 15 against John Dock, and then 26 against Jason Harris in the final. A lot of guys really ran well. Callie Mills continuing her streak. The Deckers ran well. Greg Blevins Jr., 360 with a 2 in the opening round, ran well. Great to see Jay Cox out racing.
Yeah, Jay ran well.
Jay ran well. And then where was I going to find?
Looked like the old Jay Cox. He's going to be texting me when he hears that too. We haven't seen Jay racing that much lately, and we need to see him out there more.
Well, he retired.
I know.
Oh, here it is.
He's retired.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And Cam Hensley, man. Cam was
know.
on it too. He was, check out Cam's lights, right? So he was 040 in the first round, 005 in the second round, 006 in the semis, and then 025 against Randy Weatherford in the final. I mean, that for jumping in a car, that's impressive. It's massively impressive. And to run like they did, really, really, really incredible, man. And we saw it all winter series long, like what Jason Lee, Patrick Barnhill, Cam Hensley, Eric Gustafson, that whole group, their program they are front running hot rods.
Yeah, what did Jason go in the white car? But he wasn't. Was it?
They just ran it, I think. Didn't they?
No, they ran the white car. Pull it up. My memories escaped me. He was up there. He was top of the field. They ran well again with that car. 356.
How about 356? Damn. And then you've also got it was great to see Jason Scruggs back out, went 351 with an 8 set low speed, and top speed of the meet went 222 in that hot rod. Tommy Mooney out with Shannon Jenkins calling the shots on that hot rod. Very cool.
Yeah, I think they went like a 374 or something.
Yeah, 374.
Which I literally think is like the one and only pass that car's ever made. Like full pull. I think so.
Really?
It's got like
374, 201, man. Pretty stout. Pretty damn stout. Frankie Taylor, Hank Stubbs, Bubba Stanton, brand new car from Quartermax Racing comes out. First rip, I think it went like 352 first rip. No, man, it's there's a whole lot of drag racing going on. That's for damn sure, man. And the kind of closing notes, I just want to say that, like, absolutely incredible what we saw at Texas 2K this weekend as well. Huge crowd, huge tip of the cap to Peter Block, the whole team at Texas 2K. We tried to get Peter on the show today, but he's traveling. We're going to try to have Peter on the show next Wednesday. We also had Brett LaSala, who had a hell of a run on Saturday or Sunday at Texas 2K, went a 587 in the final. It was like a super cool moment. He was going back and forth with the White Rice team all weekend long. Coyote versus 2JZ. It was like a really great story. Cletus McFarland won. Jimmy Dale won. So an all around, I mean, I would say perhaps like one of, if not the greatest Texas 2K event of all time. And, you know, Brett Kepner put a post on social that I just thought was a great observation, that for like all of the naysayers on the internet that want to sit back and talk about our sport dying or young people not caring about cars, look no further than Texas 2K. And the pit's full of late model performance cars, tons of people working on their own stuff, tons of people that are trying to tune their own cars or working on stuff in their garages. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of big money Lambos and super, you know, all these super cars and whatnot, but there's a whole world of people that are there that are exactly the people that built this sport, you know, and it's a really amazing time. There's no doubt about it, man. Guys, Mike, JT, Blake, appreciate you guys. Hell of a show today. Justin Bond, Spencer Hyde, and of course, John Sears. Thank you guys for taking some time to chat with us this afternoon. And most importantly, all of you that support us each and every week. We look forward to seeing you at the racetrack this weekend. There's a whole host of options for you coming up this weekend. Log on to dragillustrated.com again. Check out Craig Cook's new opinionated editorial if you're curious what's going on this weekend. He pretty much laid it all out there on dragillustrated.com. Mike, JT, appreciate you guys.
Later.
See y'all next week.
Thanks, guys.